He's a tough negotiator. I think it was a better deal for you than us, but these are minor details.
And being told that they are starting a new youth exchange with Carlsbad, not far from Cardiff by the Sea, which of course another fantastic connection with your state government.
Minister Doughty, Secretary of State and Governor Newsom, and more importantly for your leadership, your commitment and your inspiration in accelerating climate action on both sides. Scientifically and in our shared work to tackle the world's most pressing global challenges. That's proceedings for the signing of a new UK-California memorandum of understanding focused on deepening. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Minister Stephen Doughty, the UK's Minister of State for North America and transatlantic partnerships, and we're honoured to have him here to mark this milestone moment. Minister Doughty.
Well, thank you, Consul General, and to all of you here. Welcome to the Carlo Suites. The length of the US-UK relationship goes back many years, you well know, particularly this year celebrating 250 years, so some slightly more difficult times. And it's genuinely up and down the length of your great state, Governor, from Crescent City down to the Coronado. I've enjoyed your centre and being told that they are starting a new youth exchange with Carlsbad, not far from Cardiff by the Sea, which of course another fantastic connection with your state government. And we see all of the evidence of that relationship in California.
Thank you so much for those remarks, Minister Doughty, Secretary of State and Governor Newsom, and more importantly for your leadership, your commitment and your inspiration in accelerating climate action on both sides of the Atlantic. So we'll now move to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the United Kingdom and the State of California. Thank you, everybody. And with that signing, that concludes today's event. Please do feel free to stay, mingle, chat, have some more refreshments. And again, thank you for being with us today.
What else is I don't know. I'll find the range. Okay, it's all right.
We do it. Let me just take a photo. These things, they're just not.
Speaker, with your permission, I'll answer questions 1, 11 and 23 together. Bills are too high and the cost of living crisis is the biggest issue facing the country. That's why at the last budget we took decisions to raise taxes on the wealthiest, which will enable us to take an average of £150 of costs of household and energy bills from April. This builds on the fact that the price cap and average energy bills will lower in 2025 in real terms than in 2024.
We were promised
Sir Desmond.
of £300. They've actually gone up by just shy of £200.
Yes.
And the legislation that we passed last week, the impact assessment states, the emissions trading amendments, we estimate that the cost pass-through for most sectors could feasibly lie at between 80 and 90%. That is a euphemism for even higher bills, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm afraid he's wrong on the first point he makes because he's taking 1 quarter of summer 2024 and comparing it to today. If you look across 2025, bills are lower than in 2024. And actually, I hope, Mr. Speaker, he'd be supporting our £150 off energy bills, but they oppose all the measures that make it possible.
Marvellous. Claire Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The government's consultation on alternative heating ends today doesn't cover installation costs, yet that is what is stopping many of my constituents in off-gas areas switching away from oil. With National Energy Action warning of an £18 billion funding gap to meet fuel poverty targets, what action will the government take to ensure that those least able to afford alternative forms of heating are not left dependent on fossil fuel and paying sky-high bills?
Well, I think that the honourable lady is right to draw attention to our consultation, and I know from talking to my honourable friend that we will take into account the points that we made. Look, we want to make it possible for as many people as possible across the country to convert to cheap, clean power. That's the point of our Warm Homes Plan. That's the point of the consultation she mentioned.
Up for a branch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A recent survey conducted by Census Wide shows that 2/3 of households with heat pumps say their heating costs have increased, driven by electricity prices that are 4 times higher than gas. With, as we've heard, energy bills now £190 higher, despite this government promising to cut them by £300, does the Secretary of State acknowledge that his choices are making it harder for households to make the switch to greener heating options, and unlike the Conservatives' cheap power plan, are leaving households with higher bills?
Can I congratulate her on reading out the Whip's handout? Question. Let me just say to her, no, I do not, and I'll tell her why. Because the action that the Chancellor took in the budget to take the renewables obligation off bills and onto public expenditure was the biggest single cut in the cost of electricity we've seen, actually, even dating back to their time in office.
Select Committee, Bill Estes.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Speaker. The costs of new infrastructure are a pressure on bills, as the Secretary of State knows. He deserves enormous credit for the results of auction round 7 today, where renewables, the strike price of renewables is less than half that of what it would be with new gas. But what is the approach to rolling out extra grid and indeed maintaining the existing grid, so crucial to the plans, given there is so much to be made up for following the failure to invest over many years since privatisation?
Well, he's right to draw attention to the auction this morning. Record amounts of solar power, the cheapest form of power we could possibly have in this country, less than half the price to build and operate new gas. And on the point about infrastructure, he's right. We inherited a terrible legacy. We are building the new infrastructure we need.
Amanda Hack.
My constituents of North West Leicestershire will soon be benefiting from an average of £150 per household to cut bills, as well as a number being able to access energy efficiency schemes. Could the Minister outline in more detail the changes expected to fixed elements of our bill, such as the standing charges, which impact those in fuel poverty so much more than the rest of us?
My honourable friend draws attention to a really important issue, which is standing charges, and we currently have been consulting on moving the warm homes discount from fixed cost standing charges to unit rates. It's been welcomed by Martin Lewis among others. We do want to bear down on standing charges, and obviously we'll be announcing the results of that consultation soon.
Catherine Atkinson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Last year I teamed up with the local Labour Council Cabinet Member for the Cost of Living and the MP for Derby South to launch a free local pension advice service which has delivered over £500,000 to eligible pensioners in Derby. It's helped with pension credit, home heating tips, fire safety advice and utility deals, and has even provided free draft extruders and radiator insulators. What steps is the Secretary taking to ensure that people know about the support they can get to reduce household bills?
Well, my honourable friend, is really important to draw attention to this, and as part of our Warm Homes plan, we're going to be setting up a Warm Homes agency precisely to give people proper information, advice and guidance on what they can do to cut their bills. The biggest public investment we've ever seen in this country to help people cut bills and upgrade their homes, and we will make sure people know about it.
Good job.